Hello, welcome to this video. We will first start and build our web server using the Gin framework. So now in our main.go file, um, let's create our main function. Okay, good. Then inside it, we can now first of all call and instantiate our Gin server. So we will now declare a variable, and in this case, I will use R. Then I'll bring in our Gin, and so I'll do Gin dot default. Okay, good. Now this is how we instantiate our Gin server, and we will listen to the port. So now we are getting an error here. We are getting this error here because we have declared it, but we are not using it. And we are getting this error on the Gin because we have not yet imported it in our file here. So just hover over it, you see quick fix, and you see it over here because we have already installed it. So we just imported it over here. Good. Now as we see, the error over here is gone. Good. Now let's tell Gin to load our HTML files from the template folder we have over here. Good. So we will do the r dot. There is this method in Gin that we use to automatically load all the HTML files in the template folder or whatever folder that you are storing your HTML file. So we will do load HTML globe bar. That is the method, load HTML globe. Good. So inside it, you now specify where the Gin should load all the HTML files. Good. So we will do template, then forward slash, then we will do asterisk. Good. And we can do dot HTML, so meaning that all HTML files in the template folder over here. Exactly. So now after we have instantiated our Gin server default, then we will load all the templates, then we will proceed from there. So we will go ahead and create our first route. So our first route is how we are going to route to the home page. Okay, so using the Gin framework, so we'll see how to do it. Now to do it, you first call the variable out that we declared. So since we are using Gin to handle the route for us, so we will do r dot, and it is, since it is a get method, we are just getting the home page. Good. So since it's a get method, we will do get all in caps, then you bring your braces over here, your bracket, then you now specify the route. So the route is supposed to be a string, so it's supposed to be in quotation. So since it's a home page, we will just do forward slash to handle the home page. So if assuming when we get to creating the route for the login, we will just do slash login like that. Good. So since we are now creating our first route to the home page, we will do only the slash. Then we bring our comma over here, then we will create a function inside over here, and we will now bring in our Gin context. So there is a method in Gin framework called the Gin context. That is what is actually going to help us get every information about routing it to the homepage or any other routing. So whether the status was okay, if there is any error, if we are passing any parameter to the page and all that. Good. So we will bring in that method from Gin inside our function over here. So the method, we getting it from the Gin framework. So we will do Gin dot context. So this is the package, this is the method that we are using, we are passing inside our function over here. Now we will do we are actually getting it, we are pointing it to the pointer, so we are going to use the pointer instead so that we can actually get access to everything in the method called context. So we will do the asterisk over here, so meaning that it is a pointer. Now we will do a representation for it. So anytime we are going to use that gen context in our package or in our method over here that we are creating, so we will use that alphabet to represent that. So let's use C. Okay, good. Now we will do C dash C space, then we will bring our context over here. Exactly. Then after that, we enter into this function that we have created over here. So you bring your cursor over here, then we'll do a curly braces. Good. Then inside it, now we are inside this function where we are going to use the gen context. Good. So now there is a method in the gen context called HTML, meaning that if you are loading an HTML file, but if you are loading, we are just displaying a JSON message, then that one will be a different method. So we will bring in our C dot, so meaning the C is the C representation for the gen context. So we bring our C dots, then HTML, meaning that we are going to display an HTML file. But if we are supposed to display just a JSON message, we will just do JSON, then we will bring in that JSON method and we will continue from there. But since we are displaying an HTML file, we will do HTML method, then inside it we will now show how to bring in the templates that we want to actually display. Yes, inside our HTML method over here, the method takes some parameters. Okay, so if we hover over it, we see as we close it, we are getting an error over here. So if we put our cursor on it, we are seeing not enough arguments in call to the C HTML method. Okay, so he said that it wants an integer, a string, and any other parameter. So first we will need an integer. So most of the time we will just check the status of it. So if we are routing to the home page, if it goes through, then we will display the HTML file. So the integer we are going to display, we can do 200, meaning if the status code is 200, then we will take it, then we bring in our HTML file that we want to display. So in this case, we will say home.html. Good. We've not yet created our home.html, so we will create it in our templates folder shortly. And lastly, we will now bring in our nail over here. Good. We are done with our route. Then let's now go ahead and create our HTML file over here inside our templates directory. So let's create a new file and call it home.html. So now I'll paste in my bootstrap 5 HTML template inside over here. Then good. So this is the HTML template that we are going to use. So as we see it over here, I am just using the bootstrap 5 CDN over here. Then our title is the auth system that we are creating. So I have a nav bar over here. Good. And the background is light. Good. So and I'll have a nav bar brand called auth system. And in the body over here below the navbar, I will do a div and I'll have an h1 over here and say welcome to the auth system. Good. So this is a very basic HTML file using bootstrap 5. Now let's now come back to, now since we have our home.html file ready, now let's come back to the main.go file and continue from there. So lastly, we will now, after when the program runs, now lastly we will tell the program to now start the server itself. Good. Since we have imported and we have brought in our gin um, um, method over here, now we start the server itself. So in starting the server, we will do the r.run. So we call the r.run method, and that is going to start the server, and the default is port 8080. So assuming you want to change the default port, this is how you do it. Inside the method, you can do quotation, then you do colon, let's say 5000, or any port that you want to listen to. But if you don't do anything, the default is port 8080 like this. So you can either put it inside or just leave it. The default is port 8080. Now we are done. Our home page is also ready. Now let's continue and run our project and see how it's going. Let's open our terminal over here and let's do go run main.go. Good. Now we see our server has started, so we need to allow, since we are doing local development, now let's allow it the localhost server. Good. Now our server is now started, so now let's visit our browser and see. Now you see it over here, it is now started and listening and serving on HTTP on the port 8080. So now let's open a browser and now enter localhost colon 8080 like this. Then let's enter. Now you see it over here. Now our server is running. This is the home page, the auth system as our navbar. Then welcome to the auth system. So thank you very much for watching this video. We have created our basic web server using the Gin framework in our project. So in the next video, we'll continue from there and build it gradually. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video. If you have any comments or question, just put it in the comment section below. Thank you.